This video we're just going to simply show the B2B process in a quick and simple fashion. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you have done is your categories and subcategories are set up properly in AMSI. And you also want to make sure that your vendors under the accounts payable are set up. So you have a list of vendors that you're going to be using as well. So the first step in the B2B process for setup is under maintenance, XML, EDI service maintenance, and then category relation. So this is the first time you come in here, this would be blank. Then you would want to hit the update button in the upper right hand corner, and that's going to populate all the different data providers that you would have set up under your Active E setup. So what I'm saying there is when you initially get the software, you're going to go under maintenance, XML, EDI service maintenance, vendor EDI info, Active E setup, and then you have a retailer ID and password that you key in, and then there's a section for AMSI inventory, and off to the right here, industry to download. So I checked all the industries just to give an example of how many that we have out there. So once that populates your list here, you're going to go through and choose which categories from the different suppliers that you want to pull down for inventory. As you can see, there's lots of different suppliers that we have out there. So I'm going to just choose this one category again to make it simple. Off to the right, we can set an auto update. So if I fill this in, I can just go through and click a line and hit update, click a line, hit update, and it stores this information. If I'm just doing one, I can go ahead and this lower right hand side one, hit F6 in the vendor, choose my vendor, and then I fill in what category and subcategory I want to make this relationship of accessories / media for, and what type of item it is. It's accessory items. You optionally can fill in the MM code and season. Typically that's not something that's always done. So at this point we would hit save, and you notice that that line turns black. So when I download this provider, this 511 Tactical, only the categories that are in black will download for those products. If you have a lot to do, it may be easier to export this list, and what that will do is create an Excel file that you can fill in this information, the vendor, category, sub, and type, and then import that back in. And these lines would then be black for the ones that you want to pull in. The next step we would do is under maintenance, XML EDI service maintenance, again, we would set up our manufacturer relationships. So again, this would probably be blank when you first come in, and you would click the update data providers. It's going to pull in all the different manufacturers for all the different suppliers. And the reason for this list, and this is important for reporting and such, and maybe a little time consuming, but once you do it, it's done. So let's say you have a supplier that has, well, here for example, AccuSport has Ameritech, and the manufacturer spelled Ameritech, or Aimtech, I'm sorry. And then also they spell Aimtech Mount. It may or may not be different manufacturer, but you may want to group them together as both Amtech. So what I would do, since I don't have Amtech in my list yet, I would highlight this one, click Create, and then go to the Amtech Mount, and I would make that relationship to be Amtech again, and save. So now when products with this manufacturer pull in AMSI, it's all going to be listed under Aimtech. So that way, when reports are done, we don't have reporting under two different manufacturer names for the same manufacturer. So again, it's important to do that. So I already have my manufacturer relationship done for my 511 Tactical here, so I'll exit out. My next step is to set up a price relation. So under maintenance, XML EDI service maintenance, again, we choose price relation. So here, again, this will probably be blank for you. What you can do is click the link that pertains to your industry. So I'm working with the guns and ammo here, and that's going to open up your browser and pull up a list. And I'll pull my browser over here of the different suppliers that are listed and what they supply. So 511, if I look at that, they supply cost and they supply retail. They do not supply map. Just to cover real quick, there's three suppliers here that have price book next to them. What that indicates is that they don't supply the cost through the regular B2B download, there's one extra step at the end of this process, which I will show for those. And that's something that can be covered in support as well as your main training as well. I'm going to slide this back over, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add, and I'm going to choose my data provider of 511 Tactical. And if you can be as detailed as you want and filter this down by manufacturer, cat, and sub, but if everything's typically going to be the same price relation, then you would leave these blank and not have so many filters. So again, since they do supply the cost, I don't need to fill that in. But I will want to fill in the retail. They do supply retail, so I'll say retail is 100%. And then our price, I'm going to say a percent of retail, so I'm going to say we sell it at 90% of the normal retail price. And then if you want to fill in bin price A, B, and C, you can also do that. So I never want to go below 70%. And price A, B, C again are optional. You want to fill in the other levels if, for instance, if say some items, just because they say they send cost or they send retail, doesn't mean they send it for all the products. So they may not send, if they don't send cost, it'll default to the next level, which is what you would set up. So I'm going to say percent of retail. So my percent of retail of cost, I'm going to say is 50%. And again, 100 for retail, and our price, etc. So I would save that price relation, and you would do that for every supplier that you have. The next step, which is an optional step under XML EDI service maintenance, is price rules. Here you can set some rounding options, which I already have set up for all my categories. So basically what this is saying, if the price from the supplier falls between $1 and $5, I want to round it to the nearest 25 cents. So if it's a $1.70, for example, it would round it to $1.75 for us. And then you can also have add amount. So in this example here, it rounds to the nearest 50 cents and subtracts 5 cents. So if it's $5.90, it's going to round it to the nearest 50. So it would be $6, subtract a nickel, be $5.95. That's how that would work. And you can set those up by specific categories, or you could leave the category blank and it pertains to all. The next step that we want to cover under the same menu is the supplier setup. So here you would find your specific supplier, and mine is the 511 Tactical, and basically this is going to be blank by default. So these are options that you can set. So what this is saying is, do you want to apply price rules to these different price levels? So if I want to apply it to our price, I would just check that. So what those price rules that we just set up. The next is, do I want to recalculate pricing for existing inventory? So if we're pulling down an updated description of an item, or maybe the price did change, do you want to update that existing inventory pricing? You can check that. Now this doesn't update cost. The next option would update cost only if the quantity is less than or equal to 0. And again, you can do this only if the supplier is a primary vendor or not primary vendor, etc. These, again, are different options that you can go through this list and basically check off if you want to do those specific options. So once you do that, you're going to save and close. So now we're ready to actually pull in products. So I'm going to go under Modules, XML EDI Services, and the first option here, Active E Update AMSI Inventory. Right now I have some data in here from prior downloads, so I'm just going to remove that because I didn't put it into my inventory. And I can click my Get Inventory button, and here's my list of suppliers that I have relationships for. So I'm going to choose just the 511 Tactical for now. And I'm going to hit the Get Inventory button, and it comes up with a warning saying my category list is not in sync with Active E, which means I just need to update my category relations. It's just a warning, so I can still continue with my download. So it goes out, contacts the web service, and there happens to be 4 records in this download. And you can see that it fills in all the information and applied my price rule for rounding to 99 cents. Fills all that information in. So at this point, I can go ahead and either update all, or whatever line item I'm linked on or highlighted on, I can click the single update button, and that fills that right into my AMSI system. So if I click update here for 5880-991-SZ, it puts that into my AMSI. So if I go under my SA maintenance and pull up that item now, 5880-999-1SZ, it pulls up that item and has all the detail information in there. Only thing it does not have is quantity, because I never received anything. And it creates this item for every location that you have. So if you have 2 locations, which I do in this test system, it creates a SKU for each location. So it's ready to be received. Now, some things in this program, the yellow, as you can see, if you right click in this grid, there's a view color key. So green is a match by UPC, which means it exists in AMSI already. Red is a match by SKU or vendor item number, which means you may have to make some changes. Same with the orange. There's a match out there, so you want to make sure that is the correct SKU that you're pulling in. Yellow means it's no match. Can't find it anywhere in the system, be it UPC, vendor item number, SKU, model, etc. So the yellows are brand new items, and you can typically import those in. Blue means there's no price relation found, so you want to check your price relations. And then gray is something that you previously blacklisted. And to blacklist, that's also a right-click option. And this can be explained more in detail with your main training. But at the top, you can also filter these by your greens, yellows, etc., and whatever you have filtered. So if I updated all my greens, it would update that. If I click update all my yellows, which I'll do right now, all those yellows go away, which means they're in AMSI. So this is the last step before you actually fulfill or populate your AMSI data. So you don't have to pull in all the information if you don't want it. So if, out of those 4 items, if that one SKU is the only thing I needed, that's all I need to update, and I can right click and delete the remainder ones. And that's really the simplicity of going through the process of B2B. Again, we recommend doing your main B2B training. And that's it. Have a great day.